No team, guys, had a better week 13 than the Baltimore Ravens.
No.
The reason why, the Steelers lose at home to a 2-win Cardinals team. The Browns, even with Joe Flacco back, he looked good. He looked dangerous early on, Zach.
January Joe was in full effect early on.
He looked good, but the Rams are actually playing some good ball right now. They get a victory. And then the cherry on top, the Chiefs fall to the Packers. So right now, the Baltimore Ravens control their fate to be the number 1 seed in the National Football, or in the
American
AFC. I was thinking about National and American as far as thinking on my baseball. Anyway, Ravens, great week for them. They could get healthy, Zach.
Yeah, I think this is a huge week to kind of monitor. I would say Ronnie Stanley, Marlon Humphrey are the 2 names that jump out to you immediately. They got guys like Pepe Williams, where we're going to see how they're progressing. Morgan Moses obviously has been dealing with stuff throughout the year, but really just a great week to see, I guess, how injuries have progressed since we last saw these guys, a week ago? So, I mean, I'm interested on Wednesday to see how much of a participation Marlon has, because I think he probably plays on Sunday. Ronnie's going to play. I mean, he played last week, but it just does that knee look better. He clearly could not anchor on it, and we saw the effects of that against a guy like Khalil Mack. So how is Ronnie Stanley moving? And just if this team can get healthy, while it seems like every other team is getting more and more injured, that could be a huge advantage going in the playoffs.
Yeah, and did it feel like that Chargers game? We talked about it a couple shows ago, Zach and Brad, where that Chargers game was not going to be easy. And boy, did all of us sweat it out. And the team, it wasn't the crisp, the best well-run game offensively for the team. The defense was lights out. Tucker was off his game. It looked a little bit rushed, but he missed a kick, something we're not seeing from. And then it felt like everything was kind of going wrong in some ways for the Ravens, but they still won the game. And then you take a deep breath. Then you see other teams have hiccups this past week. And now you can sit there and go, we know what our path can be. We got to take it one game at a time. And it's a tough path, though, guys.
Yeah, we don't. The Ravens don't play a team that doesn't have a winning record for the rest of the season. And so this is going to be it's perfect time, to take the bye. You had a 10-day window between the Bengals game and the Chargers game, and now you had to bye. I think it's just a perfect time for that. Harbaugh and Lamar Jackson have incredible records in December, and now they have a cushion, right? Especially if the Jags lose tonight as well. So the chase for that number 1 seed becomes a little bit more attainable if the Jaguars lose tonight as well. And so I think that there is a lot, to like about them taking this bye. I'm really looking forward to seeing what the Ravens can do down the stretch. I think the way that Harbaugh constructed this, if you guys don't know how the Ravens ended up getting the bye this late, it was because of the London game. So they chose not to take a bye after the London game in exchange for taking a bye later on down in the season. And I think this is going to work out perfectly for them. It was a great move by Harbaugh and the Ravens for sure.
Yeah, I mean, the gauntlet that awaits them. The Rams have won 3 in a row. I think it's like the first time they've won 3 in a row in 3 years or something like that. Matthew Stafford looks good. That's going to be a tougher game than people are going to expect. Then you got to go and play Jacksonville on Sunday night in Jacksonville, in Duval. Then the Christmas game against the Niners, who everyone just saw what they did to Philly last night or yesterday afternoon. They're going to be humming. But the Ravens then play the Dolphins and the Steelers. Specifically, what's bringing this up is the Dolphins and the Jags. The Ravens are going to have a shot at both those. Those are the games you have to win. But needless to say, there's not one game that anybody can go into and say this is going to be a walk in the park.
No. And it's going to be an interesting final 5 games.
Can I ask you a question real quick? Because this is do you expect Keaton Mitchell to emerge? We saw it kind of this last game. Do you think he's going to emerge more and more as the lead guy down the stretch?
I think there's not going to be a lead back. I think it's 1A, 1B. I think Mitchell takes over in that J.K. Dobbins role of he's going to get the ball in between the 20s. When they want to get people in space, they want to get guys on the edge. He's going to be the one that gets the ball. When it's by the goal line, when it's 3rd and 1, 3rd and 2, Gus Edwards needs to be the one to get in the ball. And I think it's going to continue to be that way. That's why I have a lot of people actually that will DM me asking me, should they start Gus or Keaton? And I have to say every time, I'm like, it is Keaton, I think, has higher upside because he can take it to the house. But if you want a guy that you're going to pretty much guarantees getting 1 or 2 touches on the goal line, I mean, Gus is going to still steal those touchdowns.
Really 1 or 2 touchdowns on the goal line, because I
Yeah.
believe, if I'm not mistaken, he actually has the most touchdowns in the league.
Yeah, he
He's in
does.
the AFC for that matter. So yards aren't quite there for Gus, but he is definitely the Ravens version of the tush push. He's the guy you want on the goal line and at 4th and 1. So I agree. I have both Keaton and Gus in my league as well. So I really don't know who to start each week. And now Chuba Hubbard has also turned it on last week. So now I'm really in a pickle with both of those guys.
Don't you love it?
Don't you like? Yeah. Don't you like being in tough decisions where you feel like you're going to make the wrong one and you're going to just.
Yep. Yeah. I sat Geno Smith this week.
I mean, if you had told me that Geno Smith was going to blow up for 30 some fantasy points, but I did have to start him in a super flex dynasty league. So that was pretty neat. But overall, in a normal league, you're not going to start Geno against the Cowboys. So Brad, we'll give you a pass there. But how about another Ravens player? You saw the versatility of him, Zay Flowers, right? And I think that's probably, we talked about Keaton Mitchell a second ago. I think Zay Flowers is the guy I want to see the Ravens continue to use, because it is evident when he gets the ball in his hands and has space, good things happen. But really, the plays that he's really had designed for him are either short screens, or there was the it's kind of the option play for Lamar, could have kept it or handed it off and given it to him, and it was almost a fumble on the exchange.
Yeah.
But then Zay houses it. So I think that Zay Flowers is probably going to have to be a big part for this Ravens team down the stretch, especially there's still some questions on who's going to fill in fully for Mark Andrews.
Yeah, I think that Zay, without a doubt, I don't want to say that the offense is failing to use him, because we have seen him succeed in his current role, but there is more that he has to his game that is still to be seen and unlocked. And I think down this final stretch, seeing him stretch the field more, try to get deeper routes, like we said, he's been really working in that first 5-yard range is where he's getting a majority of his catches, it feels like. So I would like to see him really kind of expand the route tree and getting him deeper into the secondary when he gets the ball. So, we watch him get the ball. He makes 2 guys miss, and then guys 3 and 4 have to come take him down. If you get him the ball down the field and he makes 1 guy miss, he's gone.
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 And the Ravens are going to need playmakers, especially when you're looking at some of these other teams that they're going against. Now, the Ravens can run the ball just as good as anybody, but you got to play the Jaguars, and they have a good system there with Ridley and Ingram and Christian Kirk, and Trevor Lawrence is throwing the ball well, and then they have Travis Etienne in the backfield. The Dolphins can throw the ball around, and now you have Mostert and A-Chain's back now. They're going to need more ways to score. I do think this Ravens defense is going to continue to be elite, and that was the biggest thing for them to get a rest. But time will tell. Should be fun. If you could say that the Ravens would have a clear shot to being the number 1 seed, that the fate was in their hands at this point of the season, I think everyone would give an emphatic yes to that, Brad. Any final word, Brad, before we move on?
Zach Ertz is still out there on the table. He's still trying to make a decision there. And so we saw
Shaq Leonard's, he signed with who, by the way?
The Eagles. And the Eagles are also in pursuit of Zach Ertz, who lost their tight end as well, and Dallas Goedert. So it's interesting. Be curious to see what's going on in Zach's head right now. If we get Zach Ertz on the Ravens, then I think that the Ravens don't fully replace Mark Andrews, but worthy spot to fill. And this is, again, not to say anything against Isaiah Likely, but it's certainly been, it's been clear. And even going back into last season, that Isaiah Likely isn't just automatically Lamar's favorite target. So I'd be curious to see what Zach Ertz would look like in that Mark Andrews spot. So would love to have him, and we'll see what happens. But either way, to your guys' point about Zay Flowers and what have you, look, I think they've been using Zay Flowers just fine. It's the deep ball that has kind of been missing from the offense in general. So it hasn't just been let's not throw the ball to Zay Flowers as much. The ball's getting spread around like crazy because you got Nelson Aguilar and you have OBJ. So the wealth is being spread everywhere. It's just like the deep balls, the taking the top off the defense just hasn't happened. And I don't know why. I don't know if it's Lamar's not making accurate throws, or if it's just they're not figuring out there's not enough separation being made, but it seems like they are. I don't know but that's really kind of what's going to be the big difference maker going down the stretch, is if they can really kind of rip off some of those big down the field plays, because we just haven't seen that. And we actually saw, and we're seeing that with some of the, rookie quarterbacks, as well as some quarterbacks that, are getting their debut season, if you will, Ryan.
Yeah, I mean, the other part I think we forget in general, we bring it up, Zay Flowers is still a rookie. I know rookies are going to jump in and we expect them to do well. And he has been, extraordinary. I think everyone's extremely happy with the pick. It's not all on him, but what I'm saying is he is dynamic with the ball in his hands. And I think for the Ravens in general, Bateman seems like he's getting healthier. OBJ is getting more in rhythm after that early ankle injury. The boys get it going. And that's the beauty of it. The Ravens are winning games when they still don't have it all figured out in offense. And that is something that you'll love to see when you're looking around. And we talked about the Chiefs in the past, Brad. The Chiefs, I don't think, have won a game when they've allowed more than 19 points this season. So the Ravens are finding ways to score points and win games in different ways. Now you just hope, though, that you can put it all together, especially over this final month plus of the season. Zach, any final word?
Oh, I was going to say, Brad, when we talked about Zach Ertz earlier, did you guys also see that he came out and said he has no interest in playing for the Cowboys?
No.
Yeah, I saw that. Someone on ESPN tweeted it out that he said
because Cowboys are mid. Cowboys.
Yeah, he has no desire to play for Dallas.
He knows that they don't have a shot in the championship. They have a shot in Super, especially when the Cowboys have to go through the 49ers and the Eagles. So if I was somebody who was chasing a ring, I wouldn't be with the Cowboys either.